Hello and welcome to the Post Up Podcast. This is Cyrus Rogers.
This is Lake Show K. How's everybody doing?
Lake Show K. Kaunda, Chama, thank you for joining us in this podcast. We are back with a bang, ladies and gentlemen, and it's going to be a good show. We're actually going to talk about the Lake Show, so you've preempted everything as usual.
Yeah, when you say back with a bang, is that like the Lakers?
Well, I guess, you're a proud Lakers supporter.
Yeah,
let's get straight into it. So, on the show this week, we're going to be talking about whether or not the Lakers are actually destined to make it to the finals. They're looking pretty good at the moment, topping the Western Conference. They've been one of the form teams in the NBA.
They had a 16-2 start and went on a 10-game winning streak. I was quite happy.
No, I mean, I think that Lakers fans are ecstatic, crawling out of the woodwork like ants, at a picnic. But I do think that they might not have it all their way. So what we're going to discuss up front is whether or not the Lakers, who are the best team in the West, are currently on a collision course with the best team in the East, which is right now the Milwaukee Bucks in terms of their form. In fact, I think they're the best team in the NBA at the moment.
Absolutely. So, look, when Kawhi left the East to go to the West, when he left the Raptors, first of all, I must admit, I didn't expect the Raptors to do as good as they're doing right now, because I figured, Kawhi was a big piece for them, which he was.
Yeah.
But I didn't expect them to hold up as well as they're holding up, which is fantastic, because they've got a slew of African talent in that squad, which is fantastic. But when I saw that move happen and Kawhi moved to LA, I figured, look, Giannis and the Bucks are gonna take the East. There's no LeBron, there's no Kawhi. Definitely, Giannis and the Bucks can take this. And I figured, because of my sometimes blind loyalty, I said it's definitely a Lakers Bucks final. And I called it some time back, saying that the only other final I could see in my head was the Sixers Lakers final.
Yeah, and I think that I sort of hopped on that Sixers train. I liked the addition of Al Horford and just how the Sixers looked on paper, especially Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, obviously. But when you look at what's happening with the Raptors, this is not a Kawhi was the only star on that team kind of roster, and I love what they've been doing. Pascal Siakam has really showed out. How I've been preaching about him being a potential all-star, and with the numbers that he's putting up, if he doesn't make the all-star team this year, somebody's hating.
Not just somebody, a lot of bodies.
A lot of people are hating.
Look, Cyrus, big shout out to Pascal Siakam. I mean, we've got an article coming out on postupzone.com where we talk about his potential of becoming an all-star, and I think that's worth reading, because you and I both believe in him, right?
Yeah, we do. I think if anything, he is the guy who will probably be representing Africa's hopes for the future, up there with Joel Embiid and Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, if you think of them as being the sort of three best African players, maybe if we make it four best African youngsters in the league, being Victor Oladipo to add to that mix, you see how great the African future is. But I think we're always going off track here.
Off track. So let's go back to the Lakers versus the Bucks final. Are the Lakers first of all, are the Lakers on track to make it to the Western Conference? I mean, to take the West.
To take the West.
If you ask me, bar the Los Angeles Clippers, I can almost give it to them and say, if they continue on this current trajectory, maybe work on a few defensive mishaps that I can see a couple of loopholes in that defensive force of theirs. If they can work on that, I can almost see them taking out the Clippers in a 7-game series in the Western Conference final.
I mean, look, I can understand you're a fan. You're going to say these things. You love LeBron James.
Absolutely.
But one of the things for me that's been very evident all the way through this season is that the Lakers are always an injury away from disaster. In the past and last season, you saw that as soon as LeBron got injured, that was it, the team crumbled around him. Now you've got an Anthony Davis there, and so the production shouldn't drop as much. But it still feels as if they're a fragile unit. And I think that that's got to do a lot more with the fact that the other pieces have been doing bits and pieces here and there, like a Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, or even a Kyle Kuzma. You see these guys coming in to add a little bit to what the Lakers need, but I don't know if they're stepping up when it's required. And I think that we've always spoken about the fact that Anthony Davis has been the kingmaker for any team. If he had gone to any team in the NBA, he would have been a star player. And I think the Lakers was just the perfect fit for him.
Look, Cyrus, I'm going to keep it real. As one of the biggest LeBron fans, right now, this is the first time LeBron is playing on a squad. I mean, he's played with Dwayne Wade. He's played with Chris Bosh. He's played with Kyrie Irving. This is the first time he's on a squad playing alongside a player that could make him potentially the second best player on that squad. who is Anthony Davis.
Look, that's crazy because that's kind of true, yeah.
It's not kind of true. Let's face the truth. He is 34, heading to 35.
Yeah.
At the end of this month. So he's not the youngest LeBron we've ever seen.
No.
I've got a feeling we've seen the best LeBron in terms of, explosiveness and that. We saw him in Miami and a bit of him when he came back to Cleveland to win that championship in Cleveland. But this LeBron is the veteran LeBron. This is LeBron who's holding the torch, which is ready to hand over to Anthony Davis or whoever the big star is going to be left with the Lakers when he retires. Probably Bronny. We don't know. But
I love it. It's like this James legacy.
The James legacy. But Cyrus, honestly speaking, I think even if LeBron, let's not put it out. Even if LeBron was out of commission for a bit, I think Anthony Davis and JaVale McGee, I think Dwight Howard has come back in a big way.
So you think the group will have enough?
Strong enough to push. Okay. But without a LeBron James, if they meet a Clippers, which has a fully healthy Kawhi Leonard, no.
And I guess in essence, obviously all of this stuff is conjecture. We're trying to see what would happen in the future, crystal ball thinking, all of that stuff. The reality is that what you want is two healthy teams facing off in a finals.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that isn't what we got when the Raptors played the Warriors. But then you play the team that's in front of you.
True.
And so you could have that on either side, because as much as the Lakers are a couple of injuries away from being in turmoil, the Clippers are also a couple of injuries away from being back to the Clippers that were scrapping and fighting or what have you. But they've got a solid unit. I think, though, that the Lakers' path to the NBA Finals is a very tricky one, even at full strength. Because I think that what happened in their recent loss to the Dallas Mavericks showed what their fallibilities have been. They've also won a couple of games that they really pushed themselves in the sort of fourth quarter to get the wins.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can do that down the stretch, and I don't know if they have the capacity to keep going. That's why I still feel a lot of the pundits, and myself included, feel the Clippers will most likely make it to the NBA Finals. But this Lakers team is fun to watch. Their fans are loving it, as you're a real indicator of that.
Absolutely.
And I think that you can't knock that kind of thing. Will they face the Bucks? Well, that's another story. And I must say, it's tough to bet against Giannis.
Yep.
And he's improved with that team every single season. I think that they met their match always in the playoffs and came up short. And this is also something that Coach Budenholzer has had to learn as well, because he hasn't been to a conference finals. He hasn't been to an NBA finals as a head coach.
Yeah.
So he's also learning what it takes, at that point of the season. And I think that he's showed a progression of just how well they can, how much better they can get as time progresses, because the Bucks, I feel, have what it takes to get to the conference finals.
Look, Cyrus, first of all, team length represents all the time.
Yeah.
And who can stop Giannis in the East?
Well,
the reigning MVP. Name me a player. Maybe Pascal Siakam.
Players-wise, I don't think anybody
give him
can.
Problems. Maybe Pascal could give him problems.
You can't do it one-on-one.
If they played one-on-one. But if you look at what the Bucks are working with right now, I think that's a great team. They got some great talent. They've got length there, and Giannis working on a shot. I think, to me,
it stretches the floor.
It stretches the floor, adds another weapon to his arsenal, because that was the whole thing. How the Raptors got them last season was that once Giannis wants to do the Euro step,
you
into
get the ball out of Giannis's hands.
Get the ball out of his hand or collapse on him, and he's got nowhere to go, because he hasn't really got that confidence to that three. Maybe even his mid-range
is also
He's not all that confident there. But now you got a different Giannis. He'll shoot a three on you. He'll try his luck.
Yeah.
He'll step maybe.
And he's making more. He's making more than he would last season.
That's why, for me, I think the Bucks are almost a sure thing, but like we said, it's conjecture.
Yeah,
injuries do happen, frustrations do happen, fatigue does come in, because it's an 82-game season.
And whether or not they have the shooting, that's the main thing.
But if the playoffs were to start today,
if it was today, I mean, gosh, it's tough to bet against any of these guys. Mind you, because of the gelling issue and what have you, the Clippers haven't played enough as a unit, so you don't really know what the chemistry between Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and all of them will be if the playoffs were to start today. But I do think, though, that the Lakers are in as good a position as they've been in almost 8-10 years. Like, this is just, it's good to see the Lakers back to being a brand
Yep.
that people were like, okay, now we've got to hate on them again because they were a laughing stock for a long time.
Look, it's been a 9-year struggle, Cyrus. It's been a 9-year struggle. I mean,
Yeah.
we saw Kobe becoming almost a shadow of himself. We've seen D'Angelo Russell come and go, Nick Young come and go.
Lots of stars
We've
that
seen-
didn't pan out.
Didn't pan out. Even LeBron's first season, which was last season, didn't quite work out as well as we expected. Those youngsters didn't really
Get behind
get,
him.
get behind
yeah.
him and gelling issues, if you will.
Yeah.
But Cyrus, I think right now the Lakers have got enough. First of all, they're one of the oldest squads in the league. That's what scares me, because when you're one of the oldest clubs in the league, squads in the league, you run the risk of getting more injuries than the younger guys.
Yep.
And even if you do get less injuries, the recovery time is longer.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
so to me, that's my biggest worry. But talent-wise, as they stand right now, I can almost say it's a sure thing. Lake Show, NBA Finals, and potentially another chip in LeBron James's hand.
I love your enthusiasm.
He'll stop counting the 3, now he'll be counting the 4. It's going to be fantastic. He's going to call up Steph Curry and say, yo, what's up, man? I got my 4th chip at the 3rd team. How you living right now?
And Steph be like,
And I said,
I'm all good, But I think though that I love what you're saying, what you're doing, because I think that what you have as a Lakers fan is your passion.
yes.
That yes, you supported the Lakers and what have you, but you were like, I support the Lakers. You'd be whispering it.
Never.
But now
I had Kobe jerseys
people
even
out
on his
there
last day.
shouting, and this is what's interesting for the league, because I think that if anything, people are now counting on the other teams to show the Lakers that they're not as good as they think they are.
Yes.
And that is a big possibility, because when you look at some of the other teams, you think the Clippers can definitely do something against the Lakers. The Nuggets should be able to do something against the Lakers. Even the Rockets. You see, I don't know if the Lakers defense will have what it takes to stop the likes of James Harden going off.
We can stop James Harden.
Okay, okay, Shannon.
We can slow down. We can stop James Harden. We can slow down Russell Westbrook. We can do that. We've done it before. The Nuggets, I see what you mean. But the Nuggets, for me now, they're one Nikola Jokic away from crumbling.
Well, look,
I
get you.
Enough respect to the Joker. Nikola Jokic is a talent, and I think that'll be the biggest problem. If you give me Jamal Murray, Gary Harris,
you're not worried about the other guys.
I'm not worried about those guys really much. But look, Jokic, to me, that's the biggest nugget I worry about on a regular.
No, and I get that, but the Nuggets have been counted out before, and they've also fallen apart when they needed to do well.
Yeah.
But the Western Conference is a heck of a tough place, and I think that if the league were to end now, you'd have the Lakers versus the Suns. They'll win that first round, right?
Yep.
There's no question. It's what comes after that. The Jazz, the Timberwolves. They could definitely beat those guys.
Cyrus, stop all this crystal balling. It's the Lakers versus the Clippers in the finals this year. Can we stick to specifics here?
I think that if the Lakers end up having to face somebody like the Nuggets relatively early,
Yep, it could be.
That could be a major problem for them. And I think that more than counting on LeBron James, I count on Anthony Davis. He has got such drive and passion right now. And it is so incredible to see just how he's slotted into that place.
Yep.
And he's showing out on both ends of the floor.
But Cyrus, let me take you back to when you used to laugh at my man LeBron James. Let me tell you something. LeBron James
Laugh at
always,
your man LeBron James
all
Okay,
the time. When
you
your
got-
Warriors were running a train through the entire league,
I did not.
you used to laugh at him.
I never
and there
laughed
was
at
a
the
time.
guy.
There was a
I
time.
was just like, this is good for him.
No.
There's a difference between
No,
Shannon
you were like,
Schadenfreude.
ha ha, ha ha, ha ha. That's what you were like. But let me tell you, remember
Yeah.
what happened? He once said, I need help.
Yeah.
And everybody around us said, we thought you were the GOAT. We thought you were the greatest of all time.
Yeah, there were some people saying that.
What do
I
you
was
say?
not- I was not counted
I need
among
help.
that.
Now, what Anthony Davis has shown me as a fan is what LeBron was talking about. If you've noticed, he's deferring a lot to Anthony Davis. If you look at his assist numbers, although they were
His
good,
assist numbers are
now
high.
they're becoming great.
Yeah.
Because he knows he can run almost every play through Anthony Davis.
He doesn't have to do the heavy
lifting. He doesn't
lifting.
have to do the heavy lifting, and he looks more comfortable on the court. Even if you see him, he can even smile sometimes. He's not always like that
fighting and angry
like,
LeBron.
LeBron.
Why are these guys so bad?
This reminds me of the early days of him and Kyrie, where he knew he could depend on somebody. Now, I think Anthony Davis brings that to him. I don't have to do all the dunking.
You have actually brought up a really interesting point.
I don't have to do all the rebounding. I got this big giant guy who's also a menace in the paint, a menace from range.
Yeah.
So I think
Davis does all of it.
This is what LeBron meant when he said, I need help.
But this is what he's always talked about, because this is also where the criticism comes in. Every great team is built around good players, right? Great players. So I've got no problem with that. In fact, I'm not even going to be hating on LeBron here. But when he said he needed help, he left Cleveland to go to Miami to form a semi-super team with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade.
No, that's not when he needed help. When he needed help is when he came back.
But I'm talking about it until you see, the thing is, that's the most recent help.
Yes.
The cries for help have been there from the beginning, because he managed to claw a Cavaliers team to the NBA Finals with.
Can you say the San Antonio Spurs?
There's something like when you look at who was on that team with LeBron, you realize just how important and effective he was.
Yeah.
And so he's always realized that he needs to have other star players around him in order to make everything work. He's then single-handedly pulled teams through to the finals and done some amazing stuff there. But he has to, as he gets older, bring other people in.
Absolutely.
I do think Anthony Davis is the perfect foil for him. I don't think that a point guard kind of player is what LeBron needed. He's somebody he needed somebody like a beast in the paint. Imagine DeMarcus Cousins hadn't gotten injured. We'd be talking a totally different story.
It would be a different story, Cyrus, right now.
Lakers,
because you can imagine three big bodies like that on the floor at the same time. And you've got Dwight Howard, who's looking for that rebirth. And so you can imagine Dwight Howard, you got DeMarcus Cousins, LeBron and Anthony Davis on the floor, and maybe you put, I don't know, you can put from Quinn Cook to whoever you want.
Rajon Rondo
or
anyone else.
Or Contavious Caldwell-Pope. You can put anyone there.
They should do all right.
You can even put Kuzma as the point guard. or he can be the three guy.
We are stretching the bounds of reality.
Play LeBron as the point guard. But you understand what I mean. Like, if Cousins...
and a fit Cousins. That's what we're also talking about.
Would be a problem.
Yeah. Look, I agree. I think that DeMarcus Cousins, it's just that what DeMarcus Cousins was asked to do at the Warriors, and especially at the time that he came in and the Warriors' injuries that were around him, he just couldn't do it. I think that at the Lakers, the pressure might not be as high on him to perform at the same level, because they've got a Dwight Howard and because they've got an Anthony Davis, that, there are people who'll be able to work around him. But he's not there. Answer to your question, so you think the Lakers are on a collision course to face the Bucks?
Absolutely. If you ask me now, you can ask me 6 months from 3 months from now. I'll probably have the same answer because, first of all, diehard Lakers fan, diehard LeBron fan. The Lakers are looking very decent this season. My only fear in the Western Conference is the Clippers, because they can surprise.
This leads to my answer. Clippers are going to beat them.
Clippers are going to beat them. Cyrus, we're going to watch that game together. Whether we're going to be in Los Angeles, Johannesburg, Lusaka, Harare, Lagos, we're going to watch that game together.
The series is going to be
And I'm going to get the last laugh.
I doubt it.
We're going to watch that series together, correct?
I doubt it.
I'll get the last laugh.
You see, and this is also where, for me, the Clippers are such an incredible unit, because yes, they've got Kawhi. Yes, they've got Paul George. Both of them can go off big scoring-wise, can also lock you down defensive-wise. But it's the likes of Montrez who will match any other person that you put on that court. If you're looking at Dwight Howard's effort, Montrez will give you more effort. If you're then looking from a defensive stance, and this is where the Lakers, I think, are suffering a little bit, is that the defense is not great. You still have a Pat Beverly who's going to be on that court, defending whoever he needs to. Then you've got a scorer in Lou Williams. And it's those options that I think give the Clippers a little bit more firepower, as opposed to Bron, AD are your top guys. Because Kuzma hasn't gotten back to the level he should be at.
Not yet.
And you're not necessarily seeing the scoring prowess of a Kentavious Caldwell-Pope or any of the other guys. Because, let's be totally honest here, Avery Bradley, he's not been shining at all.
You know who's been shining though? One, Alex Caruso. Alex Caruso, he's an anomaly. He's
So-
an anomaly.
so-
He just came out of nowhere.
You and the Lakers supporters need to stop with this Alex Caruso.
Why are you
I
gonna
like
hate?
the guy.
Why are you gonna hate?
I like the
Why are you
guy,
gonna hate?
but he is literally just the Lakers' TJ McConnell.
Have you seen how his cutting ability? Sometimes he comes out of nowhere and
Is
gives
Alex
you 10 to 15
Caruso
points.
gonna score more than Lou Williams?
No, but he's going to come through when needed. He's going to cut. He's going to give you those 10, 15 points every
Look,
now and
like
then.
I've been saying it all podcast. I love your enthusiasm,
Well,
but it's misplaced here because
listen.
Alex Caruso is not going to give you better numbers than Lou Williams will, right? I think we can agree on that.
he won't.
And Landry Shamet will do an even better job than Alex Caruso. And this is the other thing. Caruso I like as a role player, but when you look at
But
the
that's what we
Clippers
got.
role players,
We got role players.
but the Clippers role players are even better. That's why, I mean, Shamet's been injured. That guy can shoot the ball. Lou Williams is a phenomenon. So if you look at like your starting five, well, let's say the five on the court towards the end of a game,
Yep.
you can almost look at it this way. You can play Lou Williams, Patrick Beverly, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and Montrezl Harrell as your five on the court.
So you're playing Montrezl at the center?
You play him at
you're
the
going
center.
small? You're going
Yeah.
small? Okay.
You don't even need to put Vika Zubac in there. Just effort alone, you're gonna find it hard to score on those guys.
Not if you're LeBron. Not if you're...
Ladies and gentlemen, we're moving on to the next topic.
Not if you're Anthony Davis.
I think that both of
Even
those
Dwight
guys
Howard
will
to give
get
you a double-double on a good day. You seen Dwight Howard recently?
my guy. It's as if you've forgotten what the other guys have been doing at the Clippers.
No, but
yes,
I'm saying,
Dwight Howard has been
when
playing
they come
well.
toe to toe, it's mano a mano, bro.
I think
It's
that I'm
mano a
taking
mano.
Montrez over Dwight Howard. I think that if that's the fight you want to pick,
Look, Montrez
Montrez is going to eat him alive. Eat him alive.
If it's a street fight.
Dwight
maybe.
Howard is not even clocked
If-
in.
if
I'm not
it's-
even.
if you-
I've
look,
downgraded him from Superman to clock in to maybe even Jimmy Olsen
Oh, Lord.
compared to Montrez at the moment. And this is the thing for
I'm
me.
saying, look, if it's a street fight, I'll
Yeah.
take Montrez. But on that floor, I think Dwight Howard will hold his own. But
I don't see it.
when is the next Clippers-Lakers matchup?
Well, look, we'll look at the
We'll look
schedule.
at that because we got to watch that together because it will give us some sort of indication.
No,
Because
it-
they won the first matchup. They won the first matchup.
It
The
will
Clippers won the
definitely.
first
It will
matchup.
definitely give you an indication. I do think
Alright.
though that we are straying off here.
Alright.
You say the Lakers. I say the Clippers are making it out of the
Do we
West.
agree on the Bucks?
I think right now we're probably in agreement on the Bucks.
Uh-huh.
Though a part of me still there's a sneaking feeling in me that this
76.
Raptors team.
The Raptors. I thought you were going to go
Uh,
76.
The 76ers, there is a mental fragility that's been there from seasons past.
Uh-huh.
And when the Clippers held Joel Embiid to a scoreless game, I suddenly thought this is an indicator about what could come.
I think it
come
was the
playoffs.
Raptors that held.
Yeah, sorry, did I say the Clippers?
Yeah.
The Raptors. When the Raptors held them to a scoreless game. And this is the thing for me is that it then says that Raptors team is still playing some incredible defense on a player who is very tough to stop.
Absolutely.
And that will be something that will affect them mentally because this is the same team where the ball bounced a couple of times and that knocked the Sixers out. I think what the Raptors do need to do is integrate their returning stars well. Serge Ibaka is going to be a very big influence for them.
And he's back.
And Kyle Lowry, when he comes back, needs to also play at a high level because we're seeing such an incredible leap from Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet that they are now at star level. I wouldn't be surprised if Fred VanVleet is an all-star as well. And once you have that, then you suddenly have 3 all-stars
Yep.
on that Raptors team. And that says a lot about where they are. So I think that the Raptors could probably take the Bucks out, but I'm gonna go with the Bucks and Clippers finals.
Alright.
But that's so early on to call, but
So
we're
it's
calling
an LA-Milwaukee final either way.
Either way,
Alright.
I think that's what we're seeing. Right, let's move on to our next topic. And that has to center around another contentious one for me. So, obviously, the players of the week have been announced.
Yep.
You've got Giannis Antetokounmpo as the Eastern Conference Player of the Week.
Undoubtedly.
And then you have Carmelo Anthony, this return story, success story. People are loving him. He is now the Western Conference Player of the Week. Please tell me what he's been averaging. Kaunda.
Cyrus, Melo's been averaging 22.3 points a game, 7.7 rebounds, and 2.7 assists on 0.7 steals over the last 3 games.
Yeah.
Look, Carmelo Anthony, we know the history.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
know him leaving the Nuggets to go to New York. Things didn't work out in New York. Then they tried Oklahoma City Thunder. That didn't work.
Yeah, then the
Rockets
Rockets,
made him sit on
nada.
the bench and said, no, it's fine. And then for
In
the
the
most,
wilderness, the tundra.
for the most of the beginning of this season, we were like, maybe he's done. Maybe he should just sign
In
somewhere
fact,
in
one
Asia.
of our earlier podcasts, we were like,
Maybe he should just sign in Asia or go to Europe or
Yeah.
something. I don't know, make a couple of quids before, the
he
knees
calls it
give
quits,
it.
yeah.
But
No, he's back.
he had been doing discussions, and the Portland Trailblazers were like, Melo, let's see if this can work. Come and join CJ McCollum and
And
Dame
Damian
Lillard
Lillard,
and see what can happen, in Portland. And Cyrus, look, I think it all turned around when he did that 25-point game recently, where he did the FaceTime with his son. I think, look, performing well energizes people.
Yeah,
and I think
definitely.
for Melo, personally, this has not been proven. For a while, after New York, then came OKC, then came Houston. It goes into your head, Cyrus. You don't tell me, okay, you probably won't. But some people, even stars like him, can't question their own self.
Of course.
We saw
Of
this
course.
happen to Derrick Rose with the injury.
I was about to say
It
that. You
becomes
could see
a
it was a
mental
mental thing, yeah.
And I think
And
even
he
with
talked
Melo,
about that too.
and I think even with Melo, it became a mental thing where he's
Yeah.
like, am I really still good?
Am I that bad?
Do
that
I
they
still
don't want-
belong on the banana boat? Chris Paul's still there, LeBron is still there, Dwayne Wade, retired with that fashion, the whole, fanfare, and he was getting jerseys from everybody who recently changed. So
he had his swan
look as
song. There was
funny
a
as
farewell
mine.
tour, all of that stuff.
Everything. And then Melo was probably thinking, am I
Just tossed in a
am I
scrap
the
heap.
bad apple?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's how he had been portrayed. Because teams weren't actually interested in any of his off-the-court stuff. That to the point where the on-court stuff didn't even seem like it would be worthwhile.
No.
That's really interesting. So I think that in terms of his story and in terms of how it would be for NBA fans and for Melo fans, what have you, great move. Was he the best player in the Western Conference over that period? He was not. That is my argument here. Because
Can you back up your argument?
Yes,
please?
of
'Cause
course
you
I
seem
can.
to be making claims that are just
Well,
claims.
this is the
and
thing.
first of all, can you tell us who you think was better?
James Harden was undoubtedly better than Carmelo Anthony. And that's not
can
even
you
a question.
please
I'll go through his
state your
numbers.
case for the beard, please?
I will go through his numbers. You see, the thing is, yes, Carmelo Anthony played 3 games and his team won 3 games in that period.
Stay mellow.
The difference, the stay mellow. Maybe you need to get Harden. Harden
Oh,
up.
get hard enough.
Yeah, because when you look at it, over a 3-game period,
Yep.
you had Harden playing against the Heat, playing against the Mavs, and then you had the 60-point game where he absolutely killed it, and everyone was like, "What is going on with James Harden?" Well, what was going on with James Harden was that he was balling out of control.
Yep.
And when you look at his averages, they are just ludicrous, Kaunda. They are just ludicrous. So when you look at it, he scores 32 points in a losing cause, then 34 points, then 60 points. So he averaged in the same time as Melo's average.
Yep.
He averaged 42 points. Melo averaged 7.7 rebounds, but
Yep.
he is playing as a power forward in that game.
Yep.
So you'd expect him to grab more. But James Harden averaged 6 rebounds a game. That's like 1.5. Well, let's call it 1.7 rebounds less. That's
Yeah.
not a heck of a lot more. And he's playing on the shooting guard level. Then, when you look at the assists, Melo's assist was 2.7. Harden is still averaging 6.3 assists in that period.
But he's a god.
Yes, but he's still getting more assists and scoring more. So, when you look at those
That's
numbers,
what guards are supposed to do.
he also scored 60 points in 23 minutes. Guards are not supposed to do
No,
that.
because that
People
was actually,
are not supposed to do that.
Let's actually put it in context. I'll back you up. It was 60 points in 3 quarters.
Yeah, he didn't even play. He didn't even play
It
the
was
fourth.
60 points in 3 quarters.
Okay.
But look, Cyrus, I think there's more to this. Like, the comeback story, the feelings around Melo were just right.
But is that what we're talking about when we say player of the week? They're like the feel-good player of the week? Maybe they should change the name.
Well, maybe it's not just feel good, it's play good and maybe make the fans feel good.
Yeah, I think that...
And to tell you the truth, sometimes when you see James Harden perform like this, is this Harden-like?
It is.
Now,
It
when you
is.
see Melo perform like this at this stage, is it Melo-like?
Well, it should be. The thing is, obviously, this
Not
is him
anymore.
coming back, right?
Not
This is-
anymore.
but
That's
this
why
is him coming
that's
back.
the beautiful thing about the
I get
comeback
that.
story. You
But this is
understand?
not comeback story of the week. This is player of the week.
Yes,
And you cannot penalize somebody for being good.
Nobody penalized James Harden.
He's clearly been penalized.
He just wasn't the and do we know if the 60-point game fell into the week that we're talking about? Or,
So even if we take out the 60-point game
Yep.
from that week. He still scored 30-odd points in that other game. So
No, he was averaging
you
about
know,
30 points. Yeah?
So
He
this is
was
still
averaging
more
about
than the
30 points.
22 points.
But,
And this is- and this
maybe
is
the
thing.
rebounds would fall off.
I don't.
and the
I
assists
don't
maybe
see how.
would fall off.
But the assists will still come down, not to the level that they are Carmelo Anthony's assists. The rebounds might fall a little lower. But I do think that assists, as you always point out, get you buckets. Rebounds get you the ball, and that's the difference
Assists
here, right?
get you buckets.
Yeah, that's my point. So
Because for every
he's- and
assist,
he's
there's actually you're
it's
contributing either 2 or
exactly.
3 points.
And yes, that's what James Harden's giving you in a team that people have been writing off all season long. I do think though that much like with Russell Westbrook, who happens to be his teammate,
Yep.
James Harden is being penalized for being James Harden.
That
what he
reminds
does,
me of what happens to another James.
yeah, LeBron James is true.
you get,
but I've
you
been-
get penalized for being who you are. So I suppose
and that's exactly
maybe
what
it's a
I've
trend.
been saying.
Maybe it's a trend.
The big issue here really is people don't like dominance, and what they also don't like is, players who, how do I put it? They are so good, it becomes a problem for someone else. Right? And so everyone's like,
Well,
oh,
for
James
everybody
Harden
else.
again. No one wants that. So I can understand that, there's the bias against that. But he was so good over that week that you shouldn't have to look anywhere else. You've got to just be like, okay, if Giannis was a shoo-in, James Harden should be a shoo-in too.
Look, but does that answer our question? Does Carmelo Anthony's performance,
Yeah.
because we're not going to
Mean
agree
that
on
he's
the third
back.
week, does it mean that he's back?
Yes. Yes. And,
What,
and, and
was
you know,
Portland the best place for him? Right?
Well, let's put it this way.
Was it waiting for him?
Portland was the only place for him.
Yeah.
So whether or not he wanted to go anywhere else, they didn't want him. And Portland were able to take a chance on him, and now he's showing what he can do. And I think that now other teams might be like, okay, fine, maybe we can take this chance, but let's wait to see if it blows up in the background. Because there are always those off-the-court issues. Those are the things that these guys have been worried about. And I don't think that that's as big an issue as people are making it out to be. However, what's been really interesting for me is that when you look at where he's playing, the position he's playing in Portland, power forward.
Yes.
He was supposed to play the exact same role at OKC, and that didn't work. So how come it's working? And this says to me that Terry Stotts has found a way to make things work with Melo, where the coach of the Thunder, Billy Donovan, couldn't do it.
You've just taken the words out of my mouth. I was gonna say. So Cyrus, can we attribute this to a coaching issue?
I think that this is definitely it. I think if anything, what's interesting about Portland right now is they still don't have Nurkic.
No,
So
not an inch.
no, not even. So they've been struggling for star power, and now they've managed to get a player on the team who's galvanized the fans, galvanized the team, galvanized the NBA, because still he's getting player of the week nods.
Yeah.
And I think that this makes Portland a threat again, because Portland had lost their way badly.
Can we put in a big three situation here?
You could
CJ,
possibly,
Dame, Melo.
because I think
Can we
Melo.
say there's now a big three in Portland?
If he carries on performing the way he has, most definitely. But I do think that what is always going to be an issue when you've got Melo, CJ, and Dame on the court is defense. You'll get scoring from them, but you're not going to be able to stop your opposing teams as well. And I think that's always been the thing. So when it comes down to it, regular season, Portland, yeah, why not? But then come the playoffs, people will be like, well, what's going to happen here?
Maybe that's where Yusuf Nurkic needs to come back.
Well, we're hoping. I'm still not sure what the update on his injury.
They let go of one Enes Kanter, who pretty decent defensively.
He was doing okay for them. I think that money-wise, they just didn't think it was worth their while. And if I'm being totally honest, Hassan Whiteside has looked like a player, not necessarily reborn, but he's certainly playing at a high level.
No,
for
more
them.
energized. I think Miami didn't work out for him too well, but I think like sometimes Portland is a smaller market to Miami, and sometimes it takes that small market energy to bring you up.
I agree with you on that. I do think that in addition to that, look, one of the things we have to remember is that Hassan Whiteside wasn't drafted. He wasn't touted when he came into the league. He had to work his way into those situations. And so he had become, I think that he might have started to believe his own hype a little bit when he was in Miami. And then when he started having issues with the front office and what's happening with the coach and all of this stuff, they cut their losses.
True.
And I think that them saying, okay, fine, we don't mind if you go, then said to him, whoa, hang on a second, I better be careful here because there are so many people.
You might wind up in that saloon you and I have been talking about.
That last chance saloon with the likes of Jamal Crawford and a few other guys who'd be like, yo, what's happening to my career? Because he isn't necessarily where the league is going. He's not a shooter by any stretch of the imagination.
And he's a bit of a back to the rim big man as well.
Exactly. So he has to make the most of the minutes that he gets. I think that he also understands that if Nurkic comes back to full fitness, he's going to be benching.
Which is not a good look.
And I mean, look.
Because he was basically a starter in Miami.
But he was benching Miami when he ended up leaving because Bam Adebayo just showed a lot more in terms of the physicality, in terms of the pushing things.
Big Bam is that guy.
He is. So I do think that the Trailblazers could be a team that people can look out for. I do think that they could climb up. But to round off our podcast today, let's talk about our African Players of the Week. We're doing something a little different this time.
Yep. Not one.
No.
Not two.
No.
Not three.
No.
4 African Players of the Week. How greedy can you be, Cyrus?
Well, if they're showing up like they are, I think we take as many as we can.
All right, man. So let's start straight at the top. Giannis Antetokounmpo. First of all, he's the Eastern Conference Player of the Week.
And that basically is it.
That basically says, Giannis. So how are his numbers looking?
Giannis has just been incredible. Like he's played sort of 4 games in that week period.
Yep.
He scored 30 points against the Hawks, 33 points against the Cavaliers, 26 points against the Hornets, and 29 points against the Knicks. So
Lord,
the only game that it broke up the double-double streak was the Hornets game where he got 9 rebounds. And that broke his entire streak. I think he was on like a 20-game streak or 25-game streak of double-doubles.
But Cyrus, I like the fact that you started on last week Thursday's game. Because if you go all the way back to last week Tuesday's game,
he dropped 50 on Utah.
Absolutely. That's why I wanted you to go back there. He dropped 50 and grabbed 14 rebounds.
That was just a phenomenal performance. Then the other player we got to look at is Joel Embiid.
Joel Embiid, we got to trust the process. Cyrus,
because he goes, so in that same week when Giannis scores 50, Joel Embiid scores 0 against the Raptors.
I think that was just a bad game. I've got a feeling somebody was whispering into his ear during that game, Carl Anthony Towns. And it just like threw him off.
He had a terrible game.
It was a terrible game. He might have grabbed 13 rebounds, but
no buckets. He even had free throws that he missed.
Cyrus, I was watching it in disbelief. I was like, okay, maybe it's that
maybe the next one.
Thing. Maybe the next one. No, we're 2 seconds left. No, the game's over. But look, Cyrus, after that, he was like, okay, enough with the jokes. 33 points against Sacramento, 27 points against New York, 32 points against Indiana, and 16 points against Utah. And all of those games were double games.
And all victories for the Sixers.
Absolutely.
Like that's one of the
W's across the board.
So you look at it, he grabbed he grabbed 17 rebounds to go with his 27 points against the Knicks. The Knicks, unfortunately, are the kind of team that people are going to record some really good stat lines against.
Yes.
And I think, that game against Sacramento really showed that he was back. Going scoreless in the one game, then dropping 33 points and grabbing 16 rebounds says a heck of a lot about him. Because he also had 2 blocks in that game.
Absolutely.
But the next player in our African Players of the Week feature,
one of our favorites, Cyrus. This guy has to be an all-star this season.
He has to
be an all-star.
NBA fans, vote for him. We are going to vote en masse. In fact, we might send this out to a click farm. Okay, we're kidding. But
I'm going to clone myself.
We got to get the votes for Pascal Siakam.
Pascal Siakam. Cyrus, I wrote an article recently where I said he's going to become the face of the Toronto Raptors. And I think that is happening.
He's definitely a Spicy P.
Just adding some spice in Toronto. I think they might give him the keys to the city one day alongside Masai Ujiri. I don't know.
Look, the keys are going to stay in Africa.
Yes.
Go through his numbers.
So let's go through his numbers. Against the Philadelphia 76ers, he had 25 points. Against the Knicks, he had 31 points. 10 points only against Orlando Magic. Then he was like, nah, enough of playing around. He had 35 put up on the board against the Utah Jazz.
And that's
that
incredible.
Is an impressive feat
because against the Jazz, you don't just go and drop points against them. That was also a horrible night for Donovan Mitchell.
Yep.
But man, Pascal Siakam, to drop 35 on a team that has Rudy Gobert, the defensive player of the year, says that you are doing something.
Tower.
The stifled. That was my favorite nickname.
Really?
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. You know, and I love Pascal Siakam because he's been in the spotlight. He's been a multiple African Player of the Week award winner for us.
Absolutely.
But a player that hasn't necessarily featured and has been bubbling under and has been so good recently is Evan Fournier.
Big shout out to Evan Fournier. We met him last year, the year before last, Basketball Without Borders in Johannesburg.
Yeah.
What a great guy.
Unbelievably great guy.
I had a great interview with him. He's so humble, but yet again so skilled. And when you see him working with the kids, he's just like, I don't know. It's like it's almost like being with the kids is a comfort zone to him in a way, and he just loves to be there, imparting knowledge, making sure these kids understand. But speaking of understanding, do you understand his numbers, sir?
Well, let's start with the most recent ones, because if in the 3-game span that everybody's been getting, he drops 30 points against the Cavaliers in a win. However, in a losing cause against the Toronto Raptors, he only scored 19. But to say only, that's 19 points with 6 assists, and he grabbed 4 rebounds. Then, against the Golden State Warriors, yes, they're not the same Golden State Warriors as they were before, but he scored 32 points, grabbed 3 rebounds. He was really unstoppable in the scoring end.
No, it's great to see Evan Fournier, because last season and the season before that, his numbers were average to good.
Yeah.
But these are looking like numbers that could go from good to great.
And they should. I don't think the Orlando Magic are doing anything this season. I know you've always you had a soft spot for them.
They can sneak into their playoffs.
It's still early. Anything can happen.
And that's exactly what you and Bushongwe said. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, that was tail end of the season.
I'm just betting on African talent. They've got some great African talent.
Yeah,
and I think
having lost Al Farouk Amino is going to be a big problem.
It's going to be a big problem because defensively, I like Al Farouk Amino. He's great in the paint, and he can put up double numbers even when scoring. Double digits, when needed to. But I'm also liking the fact that Markelle Fultz is coming out of that slump.
Yeah.
The way I see him is so fluid. He's playing well. He looks comfortable. I think back to the mental issue thing where an injury sort of puts you off track.
And especially one like his.
Yeah, Orlando might be a place where he's recouping nicely.
Exactly. And he's out of the spotlight almost. Because in essence, yes, he can play his games. And even when he has a good game, the NBA is not fawning over it. They're like, okay, nice to see you back on the court. I think that this is a great way for Markelle Fultz to become the player that he should be. And it's a great space for it. I do think, though, that the Magic just have been struggling a little this season. And we want to see the most of, the likes of Jonathan Isaac, who's actually had a good season, and Mo Bamba.
Mo Bamba. We need Mo from Mo Bamba.
We do. So Mo Bamba.
Yeah, we need more Mo Bamba.
There we go. You heard it from us, Mo Bamba. That's it for the Post Up Podcast this week. What we want you to do is to go to thepostupzone.com and check out all the articles we have on there. We're featuring stuff around the NBA. Yep. We're also looking at stuff around the Basketball Africa League that will be starting very soon. They've had the Elite 16 is actually on the go at the moment. Yep. There's some really impressive performances, and we're going to try and give you some updates on that. But from us this week, from me, it's goodbye.
And for me, Kaunda Chama is stay mellow.
Always, Kaunda. Always.